Spectroscopy is a tool for the study of atomic and molecular structure of the organic compounds. It mainly is used for determination of the molecular structure and what is the chemical nature of the compound and what type of carbons and what is the exact molecular formula of the organic compound can easily determine by using this spectroscopy technique. It is generally two types. First one is absorption spectroscopy, the second one is emission spectroscopy. So the exact definition of spectroscopy is when a light will be passing, the light is our electromagnetic radiation passing through a sample cell. In that the sample solution we are calling it as organic matter. That time how much amount of light is absorbed or emitted by the compound. The extent of light absorbed or emitted by the given sample solution is determined by using the spectroscopy technique. So the exact definition is nothing but interaction of electromagnetic radiation with organic matter involving the measurement and interpretation of the extent of absorption or emission of electromagnetic radiation by the molecule. So depending upon the nature of the molecule, either they will absorb the radiation or emit the radiation. In the most cases, the light absorbed in the form of some discrete particles, the particle is called as quanta. The easy and the conventional spectroscopy is the UV spectroscopy and visible spectroscopy. So here the UV radiation is start with the 200 nanometers and it will be ends with the 400 nanometers, and the visible radiation is started with the 400 nanometers and 800 nanometers. So here we are discussing the classification of spectroscopy techniques. Here the spectroscopy is classified into two types: absorption spectroscopy, emission spectroscopy. In absorption spectroscopy, again we are classifying into two types, that is in molecular level spectroscopy and atomic level spectroscopy. In the same way, the emission spectroscopy also classified into two types, so that is molecular spectroscopy and atomic spectroscopy. The examples for absorption molecular spectroscopy is UV spectroscopy and IR spectroscopy. The examples for atomic spectroscopy is atomic absorption spectroscopy. And here the molecular level emission spectroscopy examples are fluorimetry. For atomic level emission spectroscopy is flame photometry or AES. Here the AES nothing but atomic emission spectroscopy. It is mainly used for determination of trace metals or trace elements present in the given organic compounds. So before going to entering into the in detail of spectroscopy, we are discussing the what is meant by electromagnetic radiation. The electromagnetic radiation is the light which is oscillating in both electric and magnetic field. The both electric and magnetic field are perpendicular to each other to the light propagation direction. Here the black arrows represent the propagation direction of the light, and here the red wave structure represents the magnetic field and the blue wave represents the electric field. These two waves are, the two magnetic fields are perpendicular to each other. So that's why we are calling the radiation as electromagnetic radiation. The electromagnetic radiation is having both wave properties and wave particle properties. The first we are discussing here wave properties. In the wave properties first, the light is traveling in the form of a wave. The light is traveling in the form of a wave. In this wave, and here peak maxima, peak minima. We are calling it as peak maxima crest or peak maxima as crest and peak minima as trough. So here the first wave property is wavelength. So the wavelength is nothing but it is the distance between the two successive crests or troughs. It is the distance between the two successive crests or troughs, or the distance between the two successive peak maxima or peak minima is called as wavelength. So the wavelength is represented with lambda. So the exact definition is distance between two successive maxima of one electromagnetic wave expressed in angstroms or in nanometers. So the units are angstroms or nanometer. 1 angstrom equal 10 to the power of minus 8 centimeters or 10 to the power of minus 10 meters. 1 nanometer is equal 10 to the power of minus 7 centimeters or 10 to the power of minus 9 meters. The relationship between the angstrom and nanometer is 1 angstrom is equal 1 nanometer is equal 10 angstroms. Otherwise, 1 angstrom is equal 10 to the power of minus 1 nanometer or 0.1 nanometer. So this is the relationship between the angstroms and nanometers. The next one is frequency. That is nothing but wave frequency. The wave frequency denoted with the nu. The symbol is nu. The definition is number of wavelengths passing through a given point per second is called as frequency. Number of waves per second at a certain given point is called as frequency. It is expressed in hertz or cycles per second or Fresnel. The Fresnel is nothing but 10 to the power of 12 hertz. The Fresnel is nothing but 10 to the power of 12 hertz. Nothing but 1 Fresnel is equal 2 megahertz. 1 megahertz is equal 10 to the power of 6 hertz. Wave number. The number of wavelengths passing through a given unit distance in vacuum is called as wave number. Nothing but number of waves per centimeter or unit distance is called as wave number. It is represented with the nu bar. This wave number is reciprocal to wavelength or inverse proportion to wavelength. There is an inverse proportion relationship between wavelength and wave number. So it will be expressed in the units are centimeter inverse or Kaiser. Velocity. It represented the V. It is the product of wavelength and frequency. It is equivalent to the velocity of the wave in the medium. V is equal h lambda into nu. So here there is a relationship between the wavelength, wave number, wave frequency will be there. The wavelength and wave frequency's inverse proportion relationship is there. In between the wave number and wavelength also inverse proportion relationship is there. So means as the wavelength will be increases, wave number will be decreases and wave frequency also decreases. This is the wave properties of the electromagnetic radiation. Particle properties of electromagnetic radiation. Electromagnetic radiation consists of a stream of discrete packets of pure energy that is called as quanta. In the form of some discrete particles, the energy will be present. So that is represented as quanta. So the energy of a radiation from light is calculated by the formula E is equal to h nu. Here E is the energy of the in the form of photons, nu is the frequency in cycles per second or hertz, h is the Planck's constant, and here the relation again I am expanding this one. E is equal to hc by lambda. E is equal to hc by lambda. Here the E is nothing but radiation energy or wave energy inverse proportional to wavelength. So means as the wavelength increases, the wave energy will be decreases. Next, types of electromagnetic radiation. What are the different type of electromagnetic radiations we have? So here I have given one diagram. In this diagram, from left to right, if you are going, cosmic rays, gamma rays, X-rays, UV nothing but ultraviolet, visible rays, infrared radiation, and microwaves and radio waves. So when we are going from the cosmic rays to radio waves, the wavelength will be increasing. So as the wavelength will be increasing means the wave frequency or wave energy will be decreases. In the visible region, again we are classified into VIB-GIAR 7 colors: violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, red. So when we are going from the violet to red, the wavelength is increased. So the violet wavelength is 400 to 435 nanometers. The red wavelength is around 610 to 750. Means as we are going from violet to red, so the wavelength is increasing, means the wave energy or wave frequency is decreases. Here the wavelength is inverse proportional to frequency. In this diagram, the cosmic rays having least wavelength and highest energy or highest wave frequency. The radio waves is having more longer wavelength and least energy. So now we are discussing what is the UV visible spectroscopy. The UV visible spectroscopy, in that the first we are discussing UV. We are dividing the UV light or UV region into two regions, near UV region and far UV region. The far UV region also called as vacuum UV region. So the near UV region is around 200 nanometers to 400 nanometers. The far UV or vacuum region is below 200 nanometers. So in UV visible spectroscopy, what is happening actually? Means when a compound exposed to the UV visible light, that time whatever the electrons present in the molecule, they will absorb the energy. The electrons like sigma electrons or pi electrons, they will absorb the provided UV light, and then they are going from the ground state to excited state. So nothing but we are calling it as transition of electrons will be happen. So the electrons are excited and they will be transisted. So that's why we are calling it as electronic transition. In UV visible spectroscopy, the electronic transitions will be happen. The pattern of absorption. So what wavelength they have absorbed and to what extent they have absorbed or emitted. Wavelength absorbed or emitted are represented in the graph form. That is called as spectra. The instrument which is recording the variations in the intensity of light absorbed is known as spectrophotometer. So we are calling it as UV visible spectrophotometer. Here, if the sample emits the radiation, we are calling it as emission spectra. If the sample absorbs the radiation in the from continuous source, continuous source is nothing but light source, so called as absorption spectra. After absorbing the energy of electromagnetic radiation, the total energy of the molecule is the sum of electronic energy, vibrational energy, rotational energy. Nothing but when we are giving a electromagnetic radiation to the molecule, there is a chance of three possibilities will be happen. Either only electron transitions will be happen. Sometimes the compound, whatever the bonds between the atoms will be vibrated, or there is a rotational spin changes will be happen. So that's why the total energy absorbed will be in three energy levels it will be presented. So electronic energy level, vibrational energy level and rotational energy level. So the total energy of molecule is electronic energy, vibrational energy, rotational energy. So due to absorption of energy, three changes may be occur here. Electronic transition from one orbit to another orbit means, so one energy level to another energy level will be happen. So the electrons will be excited here. Vibration of combined atoms within the molecule. The atoms are combined with each other by using the bonds. So the bonds will be vibrated. So that is nothing but vibrational energy. When the molecule will be rotated, now spin changes will be happen in the nucleus. So that is nothing but rotation of a molecule will be happen. Here we are giving a schematic representation of the different energy levels in a molecule. So that is electronic energy levels, vibrational levels and rotational levels. So between the energy levels, the vibrational levels will be present. In between the vibrational levels, the rotational levels will be present. So when a UV light will be passing, that time the compound will be transited from the one electronic state to another electronic state. So E1 to E2 it will be happen. Three types of electronic transitions will be, three types of energy levels will be present. So we are discussing the UV visible spectroscopy. Here, what happening in the UV visible spectroscopy when we are giving the light? So the electronic transitions are happening. So what are the different type of electrons present in the organic molecule? The electrons are sigma electrons, pi electrons and n electrons. Sigma electrons having more energy. They are mainly involved in the formation of sigma bond or single bond, nothing but saturated bonds. So only it will be from a sigma bond. So example for the sigma electron containing bonds are carbon hydrogen bond in the paraffins or alkanes. The energy required to excite the electrons from the sigma bond is more than the energy provided by the UV light. Even though we are giving the UV light, if any molecules is having all sigma bonds and sigma electrons, that time no electronic transitions will be happen, no excitation of the electrons will be happen from one electronic state to another electronic state. We have to give the electromagnetic radiation which is more than UV visible radiation. So why? Because the sigma bond or sigma electrons are high energetic electrons or high energetic bond. So due to that one, we are using the radiation having energy more than UV visible radiation. Next, the pi electrons, these are involved in the formation of a pi bond. We are generally observed in the unsaturated compounds. Examples are trienes and aromatic compounds like alkenes, alkanes and aromatic compounds. N electrons, the name represents non-bonding. So this does not involve in formation of any bond between the atoms at the ground state level. So the electrons which are present as a lone pair of electrons and the heteroatoms like oxygen, nitrogen, chlorine, they are generally not involved in the formation of any bond at the ground level. So when the UV radiation is absorbed by this lone pair of electrons, now this lone pair of electrons either they will be transited or excited to either the anti-bonding state of sigma or pi. So at the ground state level, they are not involved in formation of any bond. So now, what are the different type of transitions in the organic molecule? In generally, the four types of electronic transitions will be happen in the organic molecule when we produce a or when we give a UV visible light to the compound. So the electronic transitions are sigma to sigma transition, n to pi transition, n to sigma transition, and pi to pi transition. Here the bonding state or ground state levels, one energy level we are giving in the green one is sigma and pi, and the pink color represents the anti-bonding state. So here the anti-bonding state are excited level state, here sigma star and pi star. The sigma electrons will be excited from the or undergo transition from the sigma to sigma star. The pi electrons, they will be undergo transition from the pi to pi star. So here the n electrons is having two possibilities. Either the n electrons, either they will be go to sigma star or pi star, depending upon the what type of bond present in the molecule. So the energy required for transition of the electrons. So here the energy required for various transitions are in this order: sigma to sigma transition, n to sigma transition, pi to pi transition, and n to pi transition. The sigma to sigma transition takes more energy for transition of electrons from sigma to sigma star, nothing but bonding state to anti-bonding state. Then the least energy required transition is pi to pi transition. So now first we are discussing sigma to sigma transition. So the sigma to sigma transition occurs in the compounds which is having only single bond or sigma bond. Such type of compounds only undergo sigma to sigma transition. The energy required for sigma to sigma transition is more than the energy of the UV visible light. So even though we are giving the UV visible light, the sigma to sigma transition in generally it not happen. So that's why in most cases the sigma to sigma transition containing compounds are used as a solvents. In any spectroscopy technique, whatever the solvent we are using, it should not absorb the radiation or it should not emit the radiation. It should be transparent. The solvent should be transparent. Here, even though we are giving the UV light, so the sigma to sigma transition not occur, means it won't absorb radiation. Hence, we are using the compounds, the molecules which is having sigma to sigma transition as a solvents in the UV visible spectrophotometer, like methane, ethane, hexane, like that. N2 sigma transition. With the N2 sigma transition means N means non-bonding electron, means compulsory it is having one heteroatom with lone pair of electrons, and sigma transition means compulsory it is having the sigma bond. So the N2 sigma transition occurred in a compounds which is having sigma bond or single bond with a low heteroatom with lone pair of electrons. Such type of compounds only undergo N2 sigma transition. Examples are alcohols. Which alcohols? Aliphatic alcohols and aliphatic amines and alkyl halides. These type of compounds will undergo N2 sigma transition. The energy required for N2 sigma transition is less than the sigma to sigma transition. So the UV visible light if you are giving, the N2 sigma transitions will be happen. Next, the pi to pi transition occurs in the molecules which is having pi electron system. So pi electron system will be happen. So the pi electron will be form pi bond. This pi bonds are is having weak bond. The pi bond is very weak bond than the sigma bond. So the pi to pi transition occurs in which type of compound? The compounds which is having only the pi electronic system, like alkenes, alkynes, like benzene, C double bond C, C triple bond C. They will absorb the radiation in the range of 200 to 700 nanometers. N2 pi transition. So in the N2 pi transition, compulsory the pi electronic system will be there. Pi electron system will be there. A lone pair of electrons having heteroatom should be present. So that type of compounds are nothing but compulsory double bond or triple bond, and heteroatoms like oxygen, chlorine, nitrogen should be present. That type of compounds will be undergo N2-pi transition. The examples are aldehydes and ketones. The most of the carbonyl compounds undergo N2-pi transition.